Happy morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the book day session with you. Right now, we are in episode 31, and this session is something very special that me and Gideon think about that we can share with you about the books of the year that we kind of nominate this book from our list. So stay tuned with this session, and definitely this is the last book date session with you on this year. So I'm so glad that you're following us until this session 31 session already episode. Okay, let's start.
Yes, I'm so excited today. So we are going to show you a lot of books. So I'm going to start with Joyce. What is the most inspired book that you have read in 2020?
Yes, the most inspired book that I read this year is this book. Yes, you know that we all shared this book before, right? Gideon, why you hide your why you hide your face? All right, this book, Shoe Dog, is written by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. All right, I love this book so much, inspired me so much, especially in the part of he how would I say how he start his entrepreneurial journey. So I read this book. I found that this book is present by Gideon to me end of last year. I only start to read this year, 2020. And I remember he gave me as like a Christmas present. Thank you so much. Never know this book has been voted as the most inspired book that we talked about this book before in a previous book day session. So if you love to know more about this book, later we're going to post a link below so you can check out the episode. And definitely this book inspired me not only in the entrepreneurial, it comes to the part that how he can be so resourceful in doing what he is doing. So this is the
Glad
book.
you like the book.
Yes. How about you, Gideon? What is the most inspiring book for you?
For me, it's the Big Magic. So this is the book by Elizabeth Gilbert. I think I have I think go through this book before in previous sections. Marie Folio, as you said, this is the book that every human being in this planet should buy this, to own this, and read this. So it is especially important for people that is involving in creativity and need to inspire their life to do something. So one quote inside the book that impressed me so much until now is like, don't ask yourself what you are passionate about, but ask yourself what do you passionate so much that you don't mind eating the shit sandwich that come along with the thing. Yeah. So in the end, it is still better to do it than not doing it. So I think this is very relevant. And if you definitely still hesitating to do something in your life, read the books and you will get inspired.
Yes, definitely it's a great one. We also will share the link because we talked about this book before, Big Magic, in one of our episodes. Okay, so now
So the next one is the most practicable that you have read in 2020. So Joyce, we start with you. Practical book.
I love practical things. You all know that. The most practical book that I love, this book, Flip the Script by Oren Clark. All right, this is the book sharing with you how to get people to think that your idea is their idea. All right, we all know that right now, not only in our workplace. All right, I want to talk about it's so relevant, including in the family setting. If you are the parents that you have kids that you want to sell your kid to eat more vegetables, this book also share with you how to make your kids eat the vegetables. So this is a very, very practical. All the tools that I learned directly that I can apply in my work, in my family, whatever things that I do, because myself, I always believe that we are the salesperson, even in family setting. We are not saying that as a salesperson only in the work, but also a salesperson in the family. So this is my book of the year, the most practical book. So Gideon, how about you?
For me, the most practicable or useful book is, the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. So I actually listen to Darren's podcast every day, but this is the book that I only read this years, and I really think that why I didn't read this book earlier, because this is the book that changed a lot of my behavior. Like I have problem drinking water every day, and also keep maintaining reading the books. I think this book really talk about there's no magic pills, there's no secret to a lot of things that people tell you outside, and the concept behind this book is like take every small choices and do it consistently over a long period of time, and you will get the a significant result that you want. I think a lot of people they overestimate what they can do in long term, but they underestimate what they can do in short term. So in short term, actually, you can do a lot of things. You can take step by steps, and in the long term, you will actually achieve that.
I think Gideon, you flipped. you are
Sorry. You overestimate what you can do in short term, but you underestimate what you can do in long term.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I'm trying to digest just now.
I go too fast.
One thing, Gideon, he blamed me after he read this book. Why Joyce never introduced this book earlier to him? Because I read this book, I think 2016.
Yeah.
2000 when he first launched this book. So then Gideon said, "Oh Joyce, why you didn't introduce me earlier? Because I am the big fans of Darren Hardy, his podcast, his every morning Darren Daily. This is how I start my day, listening to his short clip in every single morning.
And this is a very thin book. You should just read it, and you can pick up a good habit.
Yes, definitely. So now, I want to ask Gideon first. What is the most meaningful book that you read in 2020? Goes to?
I'll pick EP31 again. I know I talked about this book last sessions. But I really like this book, and because I really think that this is very meaningful about how Elizabeth Gilbert go through her early life, where he has so many challenges to go through emotionally and also spiritually. So, I think one of the quotes a lot of listener tell me that they like so much in this book is about your emotion are the slave to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. So if you want to control anything in your life so bad, control your thoughts or control your mind, work on your mind. This is the only thing that you should control in your life. If you want to control anything, I don't mean that we should control anything, but if you really want to control anything, control your mind, work on your mind. So this is the
Yes,
book
definitely.
I really think is very meaningful.
You
Well,
bring up a little bit so that we can see. Okay,
yeah,
you pray love.
yes. How about you, Joyce?
Me, this most meaningful book. This is the book by Marie Folio. All right, everything is figureable. Right before I read her book, before she published this book, I always have this mindset in me as things that I want to do, I can figure it out. I always tell myself that I can figure it out. It's along the journey, given me enough time, energy, effort, I will make it happen. So when I read about her book, and I found one thing about this book is it's just relatable, so relatable to what I have as a concept last time. And she backed out with so many scientific fundamentally that really feel like when I read this book, I feel like so meaningful and can be so relatable to me. So go to get this book. Everything is figureable. When you want to learn about how that you can be more, you want to have this great mindset in yourself, and everything is really figureable. You can make it happen if you want it to. So now we move on to the next one, which I don't have the book to share, but definitely Gideon, he love about sharing the romantic book. The most romantic book of the year goes to
And goes to this book, Anna Karenina books. So I'm not sure a lot of you know about this book. This is a book by a Russian author, Leo Tolstoy. I think he's more famous for the book called War and Peace. This was published in 1987, 1978. So a lot of people consider this book the greatest work of literature ever written. So this story actually is about the theme of betrayal, faith, family, marriage in the Russian society. So the plot is about the love affair between Anna and another young man,
Mm.
and how the young lovers they fly off from Russia to Italy in search of happiness. So I
Wow.
only read this book this year because you can see how thick it is. This book is about
Yeah.
800 pages. So I take a while to read this book, but definitely if you like to have some romantic um, thinking outside of this world, you should read this book. Yeah.
Love it so much. If okay, I don't know when we're going to read this book. Going to find time, squeeze out the time to read some romantic fiction book.
So
Hmm.
let's go to be more touching now, since we are in romantic now. So Joyce want to know, like, in this year, what books that made you cry so much or touched your heart so much?
You will never know. I will read this book twice. This is the book twice.
Oh, twice.
I shared this book just now, the most as a most inspiring book for the year that I choose, and this is the book that I read. While I'm reading, I cry so much. I can relate this so much with what Phil Knight write, because every single time he meet up with failure, with challenge, with obstacle, it's so hard. And every single time he would choose to keep going, learn from the mistake, learn from the failure, and keep trying and keep trying and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going until he made it.
Yeah.
Every single time I have this challenge or roadblock in front of me, that I think that, oh dear, who am I, to compare with Phil Knight? He made out with so much of greater challenge, and he still keep going. That's why when I read his book, I can relate so much. I don't know how many times I cry. I I
I think you will
really don't.
touch a lot of heart for entrepreneur and people who are startup. Really, if you read the books, but I also read the book and I know how it will touch a lot of people's heart.
Yes, it touched my heart basically because I'm in a journey as a starting my entrepreneurial journey, and definitely meet up with a lot of challenges along the journey. Okay, I don't want to tell
I
anyone.
don't want to cry here.
Right? Okay, I know you two have a book that you told me. I remember you told me like you cry from the start to the end almost. What is the book about?
Yeah, I just read this book like 2 weeks ago, and this book is called I Am Malala. So this is actually a autobiography by Malala Yousafzai, co-written by Christina Lamb. The book is actually about the life, the younger life of Malala. I mean, she's still young. Uh, about her father's school and activism, the rise and the fall of Taliban in Pakistan,
Mm.
the assassination attempt to Malala when she's just 15. He was shot by a person in a bus, a tree shot. But luckily she didn't die. This is really a miracle. I mean, the part that made me cry so much is where the part where she struggled to live. And I think even all her family, all her relatives, and the whole Pakistan will think that she will die. And they were already prepared for her burial. To you know about this. And this book is talk about a lot about women's rights in Islamic countries. So actually, I think I heard that this book is banned in many schools in Pakistan. In 2014, Malala was the co-recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. So she's the youngest ever Nobel Prize receiver. So I think, yeah, if you really want to read about how you should fight against something, the government or something, that to have your own right for education, for women's right, you should read this, because I even can read, even in Pakistan, if you want to do anything also, like to get some permit, something, a male, a guy have to accompany you to go to do that. You cannot do this
Uh,
alone. So
mm,
really, this is a book that um if you are women's right, or you want to know about women's, you should read about this book also.
thank you so much. Okay, I don't know because I already listened from. a little bit synopsis from Gideon about this book, I Am Malala. So it's like almost like so saddening. Sometimes when I read those books that can make me cry, I kind of cannot finish the book. I remember
Yeah,
last
I
year,
think such book will take some time.
yeah, it takes some time for me to really digest it until I can really finish reading. It really took me, just like remember last time when I read about this book, Viktor Frankl,
Yeah, man search for meaning.
Message for Meaning. I took 2 years to finish reading it. Okay, and you didn't want to share about this book, the most
Earth shattering.
earth-shattering,
Earth shattering.
shattering.
So earth shattering. So this is a book 1984. So this is by George Orwell. So I actually like this author a lot. I didn't have the chance to share yet, but I have I think most of his book. It was written in 1949. Why I say this is earth shattering? Because for me, when I read this book, this book is actually talking about um, totalitarianism, about how a government are, you know, not permitting individual freedoms. There's some mass surveillance um, of your behavior in the society, whether you know it or not. I think nowadays, beside governments, the social media also controlling you, whether you know it or not. A lot of things are controlling your
Yeah.
response, your everything that you do. So is that this book, even in 1949, the author already know about this, and he talk about the truth, the facts within the politics, and how we are being manipulated. So there's one term used inside the book called big brothers, which the big brothers are watching you. So meaning like the governments or someone actually are watching you. They're watching every move of you, whether using internet or every things that you do. So if got chance in the future, I want to share this book also. But it's quite a book that you should read if you are interested to know about the society, how it changed to now. So
Gideon, can I ask why the title 1984?
yeah, because it was written in 1949, and
Uh,
the author want to show that he's thinking about the future society. So when he written this book, he was thinking 1984 is quite far away, right? So I'm writing about 1984 society.
okay.
Yeah,
All right. Wow. That time 1940 something. We
but it's
haven't
still relevant. So you see, he's really far thinking, far ahead.
earth shattering.
Yeah,
That's earth shattering. I don't know how you feel. Do you feel like tsunami right now, earthquake right now? All right. Um, because we both of us there are also books that we read and we think that we want to reread again. You know
again and
that
again.
we read again and again and again. Then first thing I want Gideon, you share first before I share. I will definitely have my book.
Yeah, so
Share
the book that I will read again and again, that I read in 2020 is this book again. So I have nominated this book two times, Eat, Pray, Love, because I was thinking, because this was written about Italy, India, and Indonesia. So I was thinking if I can read it in Italy, in India, or Bali, that will be very fun.
why not?
So I will read
After
this when I'm in that country. So how about you, Joyce?
yes, for me, this is the book that we were going to introduce to you, Leader Eat Last, at the first episode for the next year. All right. This book, Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, is such a great inspiration for me to to know more about how we can show up ourselves as a leader in a family, in a workplace, and in our community. So there are so many great real life examples about a company, about community leaders in this book. And definitely this is one of the books that I will love. I love to reread certain of the chapters that is so relatable to every single one of us. So check this out. Next 2 weeks, we're going to have this book sharing with you in our book date session. Okay,
Okay.
now we heading to the last two things. First thing is, I know that there is a book for me. I haven't have a chance to read the books that is so controversial. Some books, it may have some controversial to our belief, to our culture, or to our modern society right now. So I myself this year, I don't have any books to recommend to you, but I know that Gideon, you have one book, the most controversial book that you read in 2020. Those two?
So
Now,
so this book is the most controversial I read. This is called Outwitting the Devil. It's by Napoleon. I think a lot of people know Napoleon Hill by the book Think and Grow Rich, but this is the book that not many people know. So this is actually a book about an imagined dialogue between Napoleon Hill and the devil himself. I hope it's imaginary, and which the devil agree to share with him all the various way that a person can go astray in life, go sideways in life, and talk about what is the force that control your life, like love, fear, desire. So this book, why I say it is so controversial until it was written in 1938, but it is only published in 2011
wow.
because the author himself and the wife himself don't dare to publish the book until they pass away. So this is the book is because it's so controversial because talking about the devil itself, and I think to them is very debatable topic for Christianity. So they dare not publish the book. But definitely this is a book that you can learn a lot because the devil is talking about how he is manipulating the human. Like he using greed, love, selfishness, all these things to control you, or fear. Fear is the greatest weapon you have. Fear of death, fear of poverty, fear of not getting the respect, fear of reputation, fear of everything. So, but let's have an open heart. If you want to learn something, and definitely, if someone tell you about this, then from the devil itself.
Definitely, I want to read this book. I'm not yet reading it. I don't know about this. Napoleon Hill wrote about this book
And
until
it's not easy to get. So this book is always sold out. So you need to wait for a while to get this book pre-order first. Yeah.
always sold out. Okay, now we hit on to the last one.
Uh,
The most spiritual book that I read this year is this book. Both of us have a different cover of this book. It's the same book. All right. By Eckhart Tolle. All right. The Power of Now we shared before. I personally, I told Gideon and every one of you also about this book. I do not 100% can fully absorb and fully understand everything in this book yet. All right. So that is some part of it, especially the enlightenment part. I'm still trying to grab as much as I can. But definitely there is a lot of great tools in terms of the now, especially talking about be where you are. So sometimes we have to be where we are when we plant our feet. So this is the book that sharing about how to be present at the moment wherever you are. So I love this book as a spiritual guide. And this year, because this book I remember, I don't know since when I love about this. Maybe it's getting more influenced by Gideon, learning about the book. So I go and hit up to buy this 20th anniversary edition. So this is the most spiritual book that I read in this year, 2020. So I think we have enough. We are super over our time. Now it's 24 minutes. So, okay, we were going to see each other again next year on when 9th of January. And stay tuned for the first book we're going to see. All right, see. Bye-bye.
bye.
Yes.